Today's guest is Captain Jaron Thomas, a fishing guide and the owner of a premier guide service based in southeast Louisiana. After heading straight into the industry post-high school, Jaron built his career from the deck up, turning his passion for the outdoors into a full-time business. From coastal conservation to unforgettable days on the water, he's here to share what it really takes to make a living doing what you love. Jaron, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Like always, we wanted to start out with asking you, where'd you grow up and what was your life like as a kid?
Well, I grew up in Dothan, Alabama, and went to school there for a little while. Then I moved up here to Northwest Florida, and that's where I met y'all at. And, after that, I moved back to Dothan area and went to Slocum High School, and started working at a cabinet shop, kind of in between, right at my senior year, and kind of figured that's probably what I wanted to do. But then I had the opportunity to do this, and now I'm loving it. So now I'm a fishing guide.
There you go.
So how'd that opportunity come about?
Well, I had a buddy and a real good family friend down in Louisiana. We'd go down there and we'd fish with him a couple times, and he asked me every time that I went with him, he offered, hey, come down, stay for the summer, see if you like it. He said, I feel like you'd enjoy it a lot, and ended up going down there with him for a year and met a lot of great people down there. They kind of got me set up, and I just rolled from there.
What type of fishing did you start out doing, I guess, in the younger stages of your life compared to what you do now?
Well, my dad, he's worked at like a hunting and fishing store like my whole life, so I kind of grew up bass fishing with him. He'd host tournaments, and me and him would fish, and then after a while, you kind of get tired of bass fishing tournaments, so you kind of branch off into the saltwater game, and that's even more addicting. So
I think I was a little influenced there with you with that.
Was it a tough transition going from South Alabama to Louisiana?
Yeah. I mean, at first it's a long drive, especially when you grew up around your family your whole life. But I mean, there's a lot of great people down there, just like over here. They treat you just like family.
So did you start out deckhanding when you first got to Louisiana?
Yeah, I rode around for a year, then ended up getting my license, and even after that, I rode around just to kind of learn the ropes and just see what it was all about and make sure I enjoyed it.
Yeah. What did your day-to-day look like when you were deckhanded?
Well, it just depended on who I worked with. Some mornings I'd wake up, get the boat ready. We use live bait, so we'd go wait in line. There's usually a big line in the mornings. You got to wait 30, 40 minutes just to get live bait.
Golly.
And then we'd fill up the boat with ice, rig up rods, and just wait for the people to show up.
When you're doing those trips, were you doing inshore or offshore then?
It was mainly inshore. We'd go redfish, speckled trout, and then during May, June, July, sometimes all the way into the fall, we'd red snapper fish and go catch grouper, amberjack, all that stuff.
So you kind of had an idea with all that because you grew up inshore fishing mainly, didn't you?
Yeah.
Did you ever do any offshore growing up?
I did a little bit, but not at that caliber.
Yeah.
It was more just for fun, probably once or twice a year. But no, not as much as guiding wise. No.
What was one of the hardest things you had to learn when deckhanding, whether that be inshore or offshore?
Man, probably learning how to get people to catch fish other than myself catch fish. It's completely different.
Yeah.
It's completely different.
I'm sure there's a lot of times where you have to deal with people who have never even
Touched a rod.
Yeah, touched a rod at all.
Those are usually the best trips.
Really?
They don't know what's going on. They don't, they just kind of listen to what you have to say and do what is told, and those are the ones that usually catch the most fish. It's crazy how it works, but I mean, everybody that usually comes, it's always fun.
Yeah.
So when did you decide to start your charter business?
Well, after I got my license, I work for a couple guys down there. I don't, just starting out, I don't have as much clientele as most of the guys, so I still run mostly for several guys down there. But yeah.
What was the process like for getting your license?
It's really not that bad. The first thing you have to do is get enough time on the water. And then after that, you have to go, you fill out all the paperwork. You have to prove like your sea time and all that. And you go to this class, I think it's 2 to 3 weeks. It's just like going to school. You go in there, they teach you everything, like the rules of the road, how to navigate with only like a compass. And,
Yeah.
and you take the test. You have to go get a Coast Guard physical. You have to get put on a consortium. But after that, it's just a waiting game. I think right now it's about a 8 or 9 month process getting all of your license back and your medical card, and so it takes a while, but it's not that bad.
Is that how long it took you? About 8 or 9 months?
Yeah, I think after I took the class, I think it took 8 months to get all my paperwork back.
Okay.
Did you take that in Louisiana?
Yeah, which you can do it just about anywhere. They have classes, I think, in Panama City.
Yeah.
There's a bunch in South Florida on the east and west coast. Yeah, you can go online, sign up, just about anywhere.
When you got your license and you ran your first trip alone, what was that like?
Oh, it was pretty crazy. It's different. It's all on you.
Yeah.
After that, but after 1 or 2, it's smooth sailing from there. It's not bad.
Yeah. You kind of have to break into it.
Yeah.
How many fish you catch on your first trip? You remember?
We caught a little redfish. Yeah. Yep.
So, what waters did you fish mainly when you were here in Florida?
Panama City, Chattahoochee Bay. I never really fished anywhere else than that. Whenever I fished with y'all those few times, I fished at Port St. Joe. Fished a little bit in Apalachicola. Some in Pensacola. Some in Alabama, like Gulf Shores area. But that's about it.
So how hard was that transition going from fishing Florida waters to going out in Louisiana?
It is way different. Like over here, the water's so much cleaner. It's like, you can see the bottom. Over there, it's like fishing in like your local pond or lake. The water's dirty. The fishing is not as finesse. Like with popping corks, I don't think you can use a popping cork over here unless you're close to like the rivers, because they're so loud. And over there we use 30-40 pound fluorocarbon leader, or over here if you use anything over 10 or 15 liter, they see it and they go. Yeah,
we use popping corks sometimes, but it's just honestly it's a matter of nothing else is working. So you gotta try something else.
Yeah, especially like the sight fishing. Like here, if you get up on a tower, they can see you.
Yeah.
Over there, if you can drift right over the top of them. You can drop it down right beside the boat and they'll eat it. It's pretty crazy.
It's a whole lot different than it is here.
Yeah.
What about just navigating through the waters? How does that differ in Louisiana from how it is in, say, Panama City, St. Joe, those areas?
It's a lot different. You can get lost quick over there because everything looks the same with the marsh. So like here, it's wide open. You can kind of see, there's landmarks everywhere. See over there, they can't build nothing out there except camp. So
it's all wetland.
It's all wetlands, and it's all skinny bayous that go into lakes and ponds, and it all looks the same.
Yeah. How does the tides work out there?
Oh, the tides really aren't that bad. Usually they're anywhere from 1 foot to 2 foot.
Yeah. And
with our mud bottom, you can't really get stuck in it unless it's super shallow. So, But I mean, the only way that we have a real hard tide is if we have like a northwest wind and it blows all the water out,
Yeah.
or if we have a southeast wind or east wind and it sucks a bunch of water back up into the marsh, and that's when you get like the water on the road and
Yeah.
the fish are up in the grass. But yeah, it's not that bad. It's usually a
Catch
foot
it
or
out
two.
your backyard.
Oh yeah.
How many days of the year are you on the water?
Oh, it really just depends. Sometimes with the weather, I mean, a real good year's 150 days, but if we have hurricanes or right now it's been raining every day, so we have to cancel a bunch. It just depends on the weather.
Where's y'all season from?
The best time, I'd say it probably starts mid-February until about June for redfish in the first part of the year, and then mid-October to the second or third week of December for redfish. And then for trout, I'd say probably April until that first or second week of December. We can catch trout all during the summer. The redfish don't like when the water gets hot.
Yeah.
They kind of go back out to the sound. They go out deep. But trout, we can target them almost all year.
Does y'all's water get pretty hot?
Yeah, it will. It'll get hot and stale, and we'll get like an algae bloom.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different algae. It's like a freshwater algae,
Yeah.
just because we have so much river water, and the fish really don't like that. That's when we start going way out and fishing like oil rigs and those big islands on the outside. And but yeah, it does get hot. It'll get low 80s sometimes.
Yeah. We had this past year offshore, it got up to like 88, and it was in like July, it got rough. It was hard to catch anything in that period. How far are y'all from, like, say, the oil rigs and stuff like that?
It just depends. We have oil rigs all over the place, so you can run 20 minutes and be to an oil rig that's in 6 foot of water.
Yeah.
Or you can run an hour and a half and be in an oil rig that's in 150 foot of water. It just depends. Usually we don't fish the close ones. We'll run out. Usually if we're like fishing in the sound for trout or bull reds, it'll be about an hour run. So 35, 40 miles, somewhere around there. And then like snapper, we go about an hour and a half. It's about 50, 60 miles. And that's 100 foot, 115 foot, 120 foot around there.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Y'all's runs for inshore fishing is a lot longer than here.
Yeah, I think there's so much pressure so close that sometimes it's better just to make those long runs early and just fish your way back.
So what part of Louisiana are you actually in?
I'd say southeast. I'm southeast of New Orleans, about 30 minutes. Hopedale, Louisiana. I'm right there in between New Orleans and Venice.
Do y'all have a lot of people come in traveling to fish there, or is it like a lot of local?
I'd say it's probably 70% local, and the rest is all people traveling.
How big are your trips usually? How many people you normally take?
Anywhere from 1 to 5 people. Usually, after 4, we'll ask if they want like a second boat, but I can take up to 5.
What's your ideal? Like, if you had a perfect amount of people, what would you want?
I like 3 or 4 people. I just feel like when you have that many people on the boat, it's a lot easier to help locate fish.
Yeah.
Because you can have, like, if you're trout fishing, you can have 2 people on the back and 3 on the front, and they're all casting around the boat 360 degrees. Or if you're red fishing, you can have 2 people fishing this point and one dude fishing the cove in front, another dude fishing the point on the right.
Hit them from all directions.
Yep.
Are y'all's redfish as easily spooked as they are here?
They're starting to get that way. I think just because of all the pressure.
Yeah.
But to me, it's still one of the best places in the world to go catch redfish, as far as like being able to get up on them and as far as numbers wise.
Yeah, number-wise, y'all definitely have them over there.
Oh yeah.
So what was it like going from Florida, being able to keep one redfish to go in Louisiana, and you can keep a pretty good bit more?
The first couple times it's really unbelievable, because
The amount of fish.
the amount of fish that you catch that are keeper size. But yeah, we can keep a lot. We just had a limit change last year. I think it was June or July. It was 5. We keep 1 bull. It's 4 now, that's still a lot of fish. 4 redfish is a lot.
So y'all can keep one bull?
Not anymore.
Oh, you
They
could.
took away the bull.
Oh.
Yeah, that's all of our breeder fish. So that's good.
Mhm.
Very good.
But they don't really taste good
No.
whenever they get over 26, 27 inches anyway. They kind of get tough.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people, especially that are stuck in the freshwater industry, they don't understand. They're like, I don't want to go fish saltwater and have to turn back a 29-inch redfish. And I'm like, dude, after it gets over 26, it is not going to taste as good as it is in the slot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what a lot of people don't understand that at first. And they'll have a 18.5-inch redfish and a 25-inch redfish, and they'll have the half shell, and they'll take it home, and they'll come back. They'll be like, man, we want 4 keeper redfish that are barely keeper size. Those things are good.
Yeah, much better.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever second guess moving out to Louisiana and fishing?
Yeah. It's tough at first, not really knowing anybody over there, but after a couple months, I started thinking that I really wanted to live out there.
Was there a moment when you knew, like, this is what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah, I think after that first trip by myself, I was like, this is something that I really enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Give you like a confidence boost, and it's like, oh, I can actually do this really good.
Yeah, there's something different than, when you catch a fish, it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see people that have only caught a few fish, or they've never caught fish like that before, how excited they get, it's something different.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always loved taking the people who don't really get to saltwater fish a lot and have never been, sometimes even exposed to it. And when they catch their first, say, redfish or trout, and it just, especially if you're using a top water on a trout, they're immediately hooked, and they're like, I don't even want to bass fish anymore. And I'm like, yeah, now you see why I'm hooked.
Yeah. I still love bass fishing. Like, every time I come back over here, I go just about every time. But yeah, there's nothing like the pool of a redfish. A 5-pound redfish compared to a 5-pound bass, that redfish will drown that bass any day of the week.
So walk us through a typical day, whether you want to talk about being on your boat or deckhanding.
Usually, wake up anywhere 3:30 to 4. We'll go. I usually go down there. I'll ice up the boat, get fuel in it. We have one of the guides I keep my boat at his place have a big fuel tank, and we have fuel at the dock, and then we'll go get bait, come back, rig up rods, and then usually after all that, it's usually anywhere 5:30, and we're ready to roll.
What time do y'all leave out? Try to.
It just depends on where we're going. Like, if we know we're making a far run, we'll try to leave, 15, 20 minutes early just to get there right when the sun's coming up. But during the wintertime and late fall, we'll leave 6:30, 7 o'clock. We're fishing close, but during the summer, we sometimes 4:30, 5. We'll leave.
You find fishing in the morning to be better than the afternoon, or what's it like out there?
It really just depends on what the fishing, how good it is at the moment. I've done a lot of trips in the afternoon, and we usually do pretty good. But like the morning bite, I don't know what it is. Maybe they've just been, I don't know. I guess they might sleep too at night, but I feel like the morning bite's probably a lot better.
Yeah. Is there a specific time y'all try to have lines in the water?
No. I mean, the earlier that we can start fishing, the better. It gives
Yeah.
us more time throughout the day to catch fish. But no, I mean, just as soon as the sun comes up and you can see, what you're doing, the
Yeah.
better.
Making sure you're not throwing into the marsh.
Yeah.
What's your favorite trips?
I mean, I really like the redfish. That's probably my favorite fish to target. But I like doing all of it. I like catching flounder. I like going in the spring, catching sheep's head on the rigs. I like trout fishing out in the sound. I like chasing birds for trout and jacks and bull reds. I mean, I enjoy it all.
Do you ever fish yourself when you have clients on the boat, or is it strictly you're telling where to throw and that kind of thing?
It just depends on how tough the fishing is. Like if it's starting out slow in the morning, I'll fish, a couple times, just to try to help, figure out a pattern.
Yeah.
But usually I'll fish one or two stops first thing in the morning. Then after that, I just kind of coach them, tell them where to cast.
Yeah.
Tell them what they need to be doing different or whatever, just to help put fish in the box.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to learn how to teach people how to fish?
It didn't take very long. Once you deckhand, I mean, I recommend doing that. If you're going to get into it, I recommend doing that first, just to kind of learn. And it doesn't take very long. You just have to have the mindset of you have to make them think how you think, as far as like fishing a point or fishing a cut. You just have to deckhanding. I learned from some really good guides that were very vocal. You just have to get your clients to think how you think, and then after that, it's pretty easy throughout the day.
Do you have a lot of mentors getting started?
Yeah, I'd say so. There's a lot of people that have taught me how to fish growing up. A lot of guys that helped me get started that I appreciate.
You had said earlier that you were trying to get them to think how you think. What are some of the signs you tell them to look for, type of thing?
Let's see. So out there, it's different. We have shrimp everywhere. So like if we're pulling up to a reef, like to fish for trout, we'll fish these oyster reefs. So there's oysters all on the bottom. Well, the trout will sit on them and hug the bottom and wait for shrimp to come up, and then they'll chase them. Well, the shrimp are jumping out of the water because they're scared. So you see shrimp jumping, throw over there, or if you see pogies flickering, you can just throw around the bait. Red fishing, just looking for mullet, looking for swirls, looking where that eddy comes around on the backside of that point, throw up in there, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Are they tailing a lot up there?
It just depends. We usually don't fish shallow enough unless we're sight fishing, but they do tail a lot. You can usually we see them running out in the morning. You'll see them pushing on top.
Push a weight.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorite sights to see, and you look over and you just see the weight coming up.
Oh yeah, I
Oh,
love
there it is.
Yeah, I love throwing in front of that wake and catching one.
Mhm. How do you handle bad weather or bad conditions when out on the water?
It just depends. Usually, most of the storms we get, we can see them. We can kind of run around them or stay away from them. But as far as wind, there's so much marsh down there. You can get set up, behind miles of marsh, and it's really not that bad.
Yeah.
But the only thing that really gets us is the rain, and if it's thunder and lightning, we head in. But
Yeah.
if it's just sprinkling, we'll stay out there.
What about when fish ain't biting?
Oh, well, we just keep going. We got to find them. They're there somewhere. Like this past, I think it was Sunday, I fished that morning, and we just had a big front come through, and that pressure really got to them.
Mhm.
It was real tough. I think we only had a few fish for 3 or 4 hours, and as soon as that sun got up and the tide started moving, they were on. We just had to stick through it.
Yeah, wait it out.
So tell us about the boat you're running.
I'm running a 24-foot Skeeter right now. It's got a Yamaha on the back. It's got power poles. It's got a fish finder. It's got a trolling motor, like a Minn Kota trolling motor on it. I like it. It's a good boat.
What made you go with the Skeeter?
I was looking at a lot of boats, and one of the guys that I worked for had ran Skeeter for 5 or 6 years, and there's another guy that I had known, and he'd run Skeeter his whole guiding career, and that's the one I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Which there's a lot of good boats out there. Like, I think Trout makes a real good boat, or they used to. I don't know if they still make them anymore. The Blazers are nice.
Yeah.
That boat y'all have is nice. That Bulls
Bulls
Bay.
Bay.
Yeah, I think they make it 24 now.
Yeah. they
Yeah.
do.
I wish we had the 24. It's crazy how much 2 feet will do. But
Oh yeah, especially in the chop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's way more. It's when you have like 4 or 5 people, that extra 2 foot is a lot.
Yeah. When we got ours in 2015, they only had the 22 model.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just what we ended up getting. And then I think 2 years later, they came out with the 24.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, I guess we should have waited 2 more years.
I remember you texted me as soon as you got that boat, you took that T-top off.
Oh yeah.
That week you got it.
Yeah, you can't have a T-top.
Not guiding.
No, it takes up a lot of room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, whenever you're fishing, you're not under it anyway. So
Mhm.
really, I mean, I just
Yeah.
usually wear a shirt with a hood. It's about the same. But yeah, it took up way too much room.
Was it a soft top or a hard top?
It was a soft top.
Well, yeah, that's even worse, too.
Mhm.
If you
Yeah,
get somebody who
get hooks caught
hooked on
in
it.
Yeah.
What size motor are you running?
It's a 300.
Yeah.
So tell us about what gear you're using on your trips.
Okay, so right now I'm running. It's all mainly Daiwa stuff. Usually 7'6" rods, medium heavy, just depending on the model. And all my reels, I think I'm using them. Most of them are Daiwa Saltus back bays. They're all 3 or 4,000 size with, I think they're spooled up with 20, 30-pound braid. And I have a few other like Daiwa Fuegos, 4,000 size reels. But yeah, I mainly try to stick to all Daiwa. That's been what we found is the toughest.
So you run all braid?
Yep, I run 20, 30-pound braid. Some poles, if they have bigger guides, I'll put 40 on there.
Mm-hmm.
And usually with a popping cork or like Carolina rig.
Yeah.
If I'm trout fishing, I'll use like a 20-pound leader. That way, if it gets hung up, it'll break off the leader and not break off all my weights and stuff. And for the redfish, I'll use 30, 40-pound fluoro with just a jig head.
Yeah. What's your preference if you're going to target like bull reds and stuff?
As far as like gear,
Yeah.
I'll use the same setups. I may go a little bit bigger leader, like 50 or 60, usually because when they're schooling, I mean, they'll eat anything.
Yeah.
You can throw whatever you want at them and they'll eat it. Usually with like a big, sometimes I'll throw like a smaller cobia jig or like a big tuna popper or topwater baits. Or if I'm sometimes we still use corks when they're schooling, and I'll just use like a beefed up jig head, like a 3X hook.
What's the biggest you've caught out there yet?
I didn't catch it. One of my clients caught one right at 50.
Mm.
Wow.
Right at 50 inches, yeah. It was big.
That's a big redfish.
Hmm.
Where did you catch him on an oil rig, or where was that at?
That was fishing a reef for speckled trout. It was pretty crazy. The guy threw out there and was reeling in a trout, and the redfish ate the trout off of his hook. And I thought it was a shark at first
Yeah.
because it just kept going and going and
Mhm.
going. Ended up being a big red. It was pretty crazy.
It's always crazy to me how, if you look at a redfish from here in Florida and then you look at one from Louisiana, the shape of them looks different. To me, it does.
Yeah, it seems like the redfish over there, there's so much bait as far as like pogies. I mean, redfish will eat just about anything. They'll eat crawfish, shrimp, pogies. I've cut them open. They've had bluegill inside of them.
Dang.
I mean, they eat all kinds of stuff. And I feel like over there, there's a lot more of that just because the river's right there. I mean, they have shad, all kinds of stuff. And then the amount of shrimp and mullet over there. Seems like in Florida there's still a lot of bait, but there's a lot less of it. So I feel like over there they gorge themselves all day, and they just get big. They turn into footballs.
Yeah. Yeah, they're real fat over there. Where I guess most of the time here they're more. I mean, they will get fat, but they are longer and skinnier as compared to out there.
Even like we were talking about a while ago, the trout, like a 25-inch trout over there might weigh 6 pounds, where a 25-inch trout over here weighs 4.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know if it has something to do with like the river with all the nutrients in the water
Yeah.
that they're
More
getting,
protein.
or if there's more bait around. But they seem to be a lot fatter. Even in Texas, the trout over there are big too.
Yeah, Texas really gets a lot of big, what would be overslot here, trout. I've seen in Texas a lot of people will wade fish. Is that even an option in Louisiana?
Yeah, I mean we don't encourage it just because of the amount of sharks that they're everywhere though. But yes, we do wading trips. We'll go out to the outside islands and we'll wade on the sand around the islands, around the Chandelier Island and Breton Island.
How does that end up usually? Do you have usually good turnout on that compared to on the boat, or how does?
I mean it's about the same. It really just depends on if they're there or not, because it takes a lot longer to load people up in a boat than it does just to, ride around in a boat the whole time.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you know where they're at and you can drop them off right there, they can work together pretty easily. They can all go their own way. You can cover a lot of water.
Yeah.
It seems like everybody here that wade fishes ends up doing better than being in a boat.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely sneak up on them a lot better. And you can cover a certain area very well. But as far as like, being fast and hitting a lot of spots at one time that are far apart, it's better just to be in a boat.
I think it has a lot to do just how clear the water is here.
Yeah, definitely.
How do you treat fishing by yourself differently than fishing with clients?
Well, fishing by myself, if I go out there and I don't catch anything, it's all right. But there's a certain feeling you get when you have 4 people on the boat that they're paying you all this money to go catch fish, and it's tough. It's definitely not a good feeling. It's a lot more, I wouldn't say stressful when you're not catching fish when you have people, but it's definitely a lot more, it's a lot different than when you just go by yourself, for sure.
Do you fish the waters differently or kind of the same as when you're doing?
I fish them the same. Usually, I don't really go for fun a whole lot. If I do go, I'll try to fish as close as I can, just how I would with people, just so, if I find them like this, I can go back the same way and catch them with my people. I'm usually just scouting whenever I go.
Do y'all have like a lot of spots, or are there a select handful of spots y'all go to?
We do have a lot of spots, but usually we have a few that are really good. If you catch fish on that spot, I mean, you kind of just stay in the same area. We won't hit, just our good spots all day. We'll kind of go to areas that we know that are good, and if we catch fish on that one spot that's produced for us before, we'll kind of just go down the bank and pick it apart.
Do y'all usually anchor on a certain spot, or do y'all drift through places?
It just depends. There's certain spots that we'll drift through trying to catch trout. But over there, we don't have all the grass and potholes until you get out to the outside islands. We'll do it for trout sometimes, but usually we'll pull up, put the power poles down, and fish that certain point. And we'll give it a good, 10 or 15 minutes, because sometimes you pull up, you don't catch nothing for 10 minutes, and you're like, all right, one more cast, and everybody hooks up at one time. So, yeah, we usually just anchor down on one spot for 10, 15 minutes, try it, and we'll move to another area.
What size power poles do you have?
I have 10 foots.
Yeah.
Yep.
You run doubles?
Yeah, you gotta have two. Yeah.
Gotta stay in place.
Yeah, if you're the wind can be blowing one way, and the tide can be going the other, and your boat just sits there and spins all day.
Yeah, I want to get a second one on ours just to fight that issue.
Yeah, which they have this thing. It's called a Cajun anchor. It's a big metal rod.
Mm-hmm.
You tie a rope to it.
Yeah.
And those are good too. So we'll use those sometimes if we have 4 or 5 people on the boat. We'll put it off the nose of the boat and have the boat like parallel to the bank, so that way everybody's not on the nose of the boat. They're spread out throughout the boat.
Yeah.
And that's another good way. If you only have one power pole, Cajun anchor is the way to go.
Counteract it.
Mm-hmm.
So are y'all fishing live bait every trip?
Yeah. I mean, we have some guys that would rather throw artificial, and they'll ask, like, hey, you don't have to go get bait in the morning. We just want to throw plastics. But yeah, usually we're always going to be throwing either live shrimp, or if we can't get live shrimp, we'll go get like bull minnows and throw those.
So y'all see works the best, live shrimp?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yep. Everything eats shrimp.
So do y'all ever have seasons where y'all will see artificial work better than live?
It just depends. Like during the wintertime, it seems like the fish are keyed in on smaller baits. So they'll be keyed in on like a glass minnow or like a very small shrimp. So we'll throw something to mimic that. But usually, like once the water heats up a little bit and the shrimp are bigger, live bait's always like a guarantee to catch fish.
Yeah.
What's one piece of gear you couldn't live without on your boat?
Probably either power poles or boga grips. Like
Yeah.
the East boga, the ones that are made in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to have a good set of boga grips.
Do you use all Garmin?
Yeah, I had a Garmin that came in my boat, and I put a standard mapping satellite card in there.
Yeah.
And it's been pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the load times are pretty quick on it. It's been a good unit.
Is that what y'all use offshore too?
It just depends. The guy that I deckhand for offshore, he uses all Simrad.
Yeah.
But as far as like the side scan and down scan that we use, it's really about the same. It really just depends on what transducer you have.
Yeah.
And what box. It's all how it's wired. If your wiring's good and your transducer's good and you got a fast unit, there's really you can't go wrong with any of them.
Do y'all fish any wrecks offshore?
We do sometimes. We'll fish wrecks. We'll fish natural bottom. The rigs typically hold a lot of fish. We'll fish those too.
Yeah. If y'all are fishing a wreck, do y'all have trolling motors with spot lock, or do y'all hold it the old-fashioned way?
If it's a calm day and there's not a lot of current, the spot lock's definitely the way to go. But yeah, when it starts getting a little rough out there, the current's rolling, we'll just use the twin screws to kind of keep us in line.
Yeah. Yeah. I've always been partial to the old-fashioned way. I love it. It really shows me when somebody really knows what they're doing running a boat, when you can run it the old-fashioned way.
Oh yeah.
And not just, oh, I got this boat last week. I put trolling motor on it was potluck, and now I'm a professional guide fisherman out here.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a difference in the mornings when you're pulling up to get bait. Everybody's docking their boat. You can tell he's been driving one for a while.
How's the competition out there? Is there a ton of guides like there is here, or is it?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of guides down there, but everybody's there to help each other. That's one thing I like about down there is it's everybody knows each other. You know, everybody helps each other out. If you need something, even if you don't know the guy that well, you can. If you're broke down and he sees you, he's gonna stop and help. It's real close community down there.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all have a lot of out of town or out of state guides?
There's a few. Probably 80% of them are locals, and there's a few that are out of state. The rest are all from Alabama or Florida, Texas, Mississippi. Most of the out of state guys are fly fishermen, though.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts on fly fishermen?
Oh, they what they do is a lot tougher than what we do. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot more work. Pulling in that mud all day.
Yeah. I have a lot of respect for them because it's a hard thing to get fish in the boat, really.
Oh yeah.
Especially if that's all you do, and you have people who want to come do it who've never thrown a fly rod before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that's even.
Oh yeah, hey, it can be tough. I know that for sure. My neighbor is a fly fishing guide, and he always looks sore whenever he gets back home.
You ever sat there and pushed for a day?
I have pushed a little bit, but not fly fishing.
Yeah.
I've done some like regular spin cast stuff, but that's it.
What's the biggest challenge running your own guide service?
Oh well, there's a lot of work that goes into it. As far as like, it's not just going out and fishing.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to keep good records. You got to know how much fuel you burned every day. You got to know how much bait you bought every day. Us using our boats every day, we have to change the oil on it, 4 or 5 times a year.
Yeah.
That's probably the hardest part, is just making sure all your equipment works, having good rods and reels, because, I mean, if somebody comes fishing with you and your rods and reels are junk, they're not really going to enjoy it if they're fishing with stuff that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Or a boat that's breaking down, or trolling motor that isn't holding, power poles that don't work. You just got to keep all your stuff in line. That's probably the hardest part, is just making sure everything's running perfect.
What's some of the things that I guess clients would overlook and not think about that you have to pay for, like just every day going into it?
I'd probably say the amount of bait that we buy. I mean, there's a lot of things. The amount of fuel that we burn is a lot, especially if we're making long runs.
Mm-hmm.
Having to buy like commercial insurance.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff. Lures, popping corks, $10-12 a piece. So, jig heads, everything. I mean, everything's expensive when it comes to fishing.
Yeah.
How do you manage the business side of your guide service?
Well, I use this thing called QuickBooks.
That's what I use.
That keeps it in check.
Oh yeah.
That makes it very easy.
It really does.
I can track my mileage, like driving to the tackle shop or going to the bait store, or I can, keep easy records of all my expenses on there. QuickBooks has saved me a lot of time.
What about your scheduling, stuff like that?
I use this thing, it's called Acuity. It's like a scheduling app.
Mm-hmm.
I think Square owns it, maybe.
Yeah.
And, I'll go on there, and it's preset. I'll select, like, how many people I have and what day, and it'll send me an email whenever I book the date, and it'll remind me, like, a couple days before, like, how many people I got, who I'm fishing for, if I'm fishing for myself, just stuff like that.
What kind of impact has coastal erosion had on your work?
Oh, it's a big deal. So, when I first started being out there every day, 3 or 4 years ago, we'd go to a spot and they would, the guy I was working for would be like, hey, this thing looks way different than it did, 6 months ago. I was like, there's no way. He's like, yeah. I'd look at the map and it would be like a quarter of the size. Well, until I started fishing every day, I'd go out there. I like fishing. We'll fish like islands and stuff, and it'd be, 6, 7 months after. I'd leave. I'd go fish somewhere else because the fish would be moved out, and they'd move back in there and come in there, and I'd want to go to this spot that I like to fish. It'd be gone. So it's a big deal. I mean, I see it every day. There's, passes opening up, points. They're just sinking. Like It's crazy how much land is just disappearing every second. It's not good.
What do you think is the cause of that?
I don't know. It's a very political topic as far as why and the ways to stop it. I don't think nobody really knows. I mean, right now they're starting to do like diversions, but they haven't done one yet, so nobody really knows if that's going to work. And if they do a diversion, the fishing's gonna suck. So you have that. So another thing that they're doing is they're putting up rocks around parts of the land. Well, that's working on the outside, but once you get on the inside, there's still stuff just falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really know. I don't know what to believe or what to support, just because it's so all over the place.
Yeah. That's something we see a lot in St. Joe. And I know growing up, my dad's always told me that at Stump Hole, if you're going out towards the Cape, there's all the rocks in that one spot. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. He would always say that years ago, it was 100 yards out before the water even started. But now, if you go over there, the water's right up next to the road. You go on down a little bit further, there's water up under like beach houses that are directly on the water, and it's just constantly coming in more and more.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of that has to do with hurricanes and like modernization, building condos, all that stuff. Putting a levee up on the river, there's just so much that doesn't help.
Mm-hmm.
I think here it's mainly the grass.
The grass dying.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's another thing for us is the fresh water will kill the grass, and that'll help the erosion as well.
I think, me personally, one of the reasons why the grass here is disappearing is a lot to do with the sea turtles.
Yeah,
because
sea turtles and manatees.
They'll chub it down all the way, and then as soon as it's short, it just dies off, and it disappears. I'll pull up a picture and show you from what is. People are starting to look on Google Maps right now and comparing it back to
10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years difference of where. On the top was 2012, and this is 2023, of where these just huge grasslands are just disappearing.
Jesus. Yeah, that's not good.
No.
Yeah, something else that I like to see them do that I think might be helping is they're planting mangrove trees.
Yeah.
I think that's probably helping a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that helps a lot down in South Florida where they have all the mangroves and all.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to see them planting more mangrove trees out.
Yeah.
Now, you went and fished down South Florida, the mangroves here recently, didn't you?
That was a couple years ago.
Years ago?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I recommend anybody doing that. Going and catching snook.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty fun.
Was that your first snook?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yep, I want to go back so bad. I just haven't had time to go.
Yeah.
I had to go down to there's a place in South Florida. It's called Ormond Beach. We had to go pick up a truck there, and it was the day before my classes started back, so we had to rush back in the same day. And on the way out there, we had gone through this little neighborhood where it was just the mangrove trees like you were talking about. And there was people fishing on the side of the road over there. And when we were driving by, this dude I seen him pulling something in, and then he lifted up a snook. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I want to be out there so bad, but we had to hurry back and get back to the panhandle.
I wish we had them so bad. It's just too cold.
I know.
Too cold during the winter.
Have you noticed changes in the fishing pattern since you've been out there?
Not really. I've heard some stories, about how it was back in the day, which everybody does. You hear that
Yeah.
here too. The old timers are, man, this 30, 40 years ago, we'd be done already. But the fishing is still great. So.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, I don't see Louisiana going down anytime soon.
No, I think there's still enough fish right now that it's going to be good for a while.
Pretty steady.
Yeah, as long as the river stays low and we get good spawns every year, I think it should maintain itself for a little while.
What's been your proudest moment as a guide so far?
Probably just getting my own first clients. I mean, that's a big deal. It's very motivational, I guess you could say. Whenever somebody calls you back wanting to go again, I don't know. It feels good knowing that people like to fish with you.
Do you keep in touch with your past clients?
Yeah,
Repeats?
Yeah, I'll text them every now and then, especially if it's like a holiday or something. I'll text them, Merry Christmas or Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Or if I got them on Facebook, I'll hit them up, tell them Happy Birthday.
Yeah.
Just to keep in touch.
Make sure you're posting some pictures of the big fish you're catching, make them want more.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's important to connect with your clients a lot. Just getting to know them.
Have you ever had somebody catch their first fish with you?
Yes. That happened not long ago. They caught it was like the first time they ever been on a boat, the first time they ever casted a rod and reel, the first time they've ever, even seen like a live fish before.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's something you don't always think about, is there is a lot of people who've never even experienced it before.
And the joy when they get that first fish is just incredible. They're hooked after that.
I'm sure that's a very rewarding thing for you too.
Oh yeah, I love it whenever they get excited, especially when it's like if it's kids that have never been before. I mean, they just get so happy whenever they catch fish.
What makes a great fishing guide stand out from a good one?
Probably just motivation. I feel like there's a lot of guides that, you go out there, you hit a couple spots, you don't catch any fish. It is what it is for the day. And then there's guides out there that they go out there, they hit one or two spots, and they go to a different area code to find fish. I mean, there's a lot of things that, set many guides apart, but there's a few things that make them good.
Why is fish conservation important to you?
Well, I want to be able to do this for forever, but I also want people to enjoy it forever. I feel like if we take care of what needs to be done now, it might suck compared to the way it used to be, but I mean, if you keep doing what you're doing, fishing's obviously just going to keep getting worse. That's why they have limits. But I'm all for conservation. I feel like the earlier it can be done, the better, as far as, limit changes and all that. I mean, it sucks when it happens, but they're doing it for a reason.
Yeah.
And the only thing, anything out of conservation, I just hope that it stays, it gets better. I feel like people that are always for conservation, they get a bad rep, especially from locals that have been fishing down there their whole life. But I feel like there's a lot of guys, once they saw the bigger picture, like, hey, if you want your grandkids, your great grandkids to be able to enjoy this, just like you did, then now's the time to do something about it.
That's a lot of people got mad in Florida when redfish got limited down to one, and they'd all said, "Oh, this ain't gonna do anything. It's just limiting the person. You're just taking away what used to be good." But honestly, for us, since it has happened, we have seen way more redfish, caught more redfish, seen more redfish. Just the big schools, you've seen so many more.
Really?
Whereas, I mean, a few years ago before it was like that, you didn't like. I didn't see it like it is now.
Mm-hmm. Which our last limit change, it hadn't really been long enough to be able to tell a difference. But I remember going down when I did go to South Florida and fish. They had just closed, or they just opened back up trout after 2 or 3 years of it being closed after the red tide, and that was some of the best trout fishing in Florida I've ever seen in my life. I mean, we pulled up to a grass flat to catch bait that morning, and I mean, they were just busting all morning on the I think called greenbacks, little herring out there. And I remember while we were catching bait, I was throwing out. I'd grab one out of the bucket, and I'd throw one out there, and it was instantly. I mean, even the guide was like, "Man, this is the best trout fish I've ever seen." They just opened it back up, and everything was closed. You couldn't keep redfish, snook, nothing. And all he had to say was positive things about it, which they don't need to close. I hope they don't ever close ours, but I mean, if they think that a limit change needs to be done, then they should do it.
You think I mean, obviously, but like, what is your view on y'all's trout population?
The trout. I mean, trout fishing this year has been amazing. We just had the new size limit, and as far as like total amount of fish we can keep, limit change. It was 25 at 12 inches. Well, now we can keep 15 at 13 inches. Well, it seems like you almost yield about the same amount of meat. 12-inch trout, that's tiny.
Yeah.
Well, 13-inch trouts, it's a little bit bigger, but it's a bunch more meat. Those fish they're eating more. Yeah, I mean, hopefully in the next 3 or 4 years it shows a real big difference. I mean, even though our fishing is great right now, I would love to see what it was like, even 10 years ago before I got there.
Yeah.
What do you think the future of fishing in Louisiana looks like?
I think if we can find a way to stop the erosion and, we keep with our conservation how it is, I think it's going to be pretty good. I hope that it never changes, but you never know what can happen, we just had that big freeze. We had the snow. We had 12 inches of snow in South Louisiana, which is like the most it's snowed in like 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a lot of people don't like to talk about it, but we had a pretty decent fish kill. But I mean, I think that there's so many fish there that it didn't hurt it that much. Which we had those good spawns the past 2 or 3 years when the river was low, and I think it kind of maybe offset that a little bit. But other than that, I feel like the next couple of years it should just keep getting better.
What advice would you give someone who's wanting to become a fishing guide?
Well, I would tell them to go down, like especially from here, just go down to Destin Harbor, Panama City, any of those places, and just go ask, hey, can I ride with you today? Can I deckhand with you? And do that for a little while. That's really going to tell you if you like waking up early, you like doing, you like cleaning fish all day, you like scrubbing boats, until dark. That's really gonna let you know if you want to get into it or not. It's a lot different than just going on a Saturday.
Yeah.
That's one thing I couldn't imagine, cleaning the amount of fish you clean every night.
It's not that bad.
You send me a picture of 70 trout on a table, and here's what I got to clean tonight.
Yeah, there's we kind of cheat with electric knives, but yes, that's a lot of fish to clean.
How long does it usually take you to clean, say, 70 of them?
Man, probably 30 minutes.
Golly.
I mean, I think cleaning them probably 30 minutes, and bagging them up takes 5 or 10 minutes. But yeah, once you get used to it, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's
Second
like 4.
hand.
It's 1, 2, 3. I think it's 5 cuts, and you clean the trout. But yeah, if you can get it where you clean them, one trout in 15, 20 seconds, you can roll through them pretty fast.
What's next for you and fishing in Louisiana with Jaron Thomas?
Oh, I don't know. I really like what I'm doing right now, but I don't think I could ever get out of the fishing industry. That's something that I always wanted to be in as far as career-wise. But right now, I'm loving where I'm at.
Do you think you'll always stick to inshore, or you think you'll do more offshore later on?
Yeah, I'd love to get, a boat that's 3 or 4 foot longer with twin motors on it. Yeah, just when it's not super rough out, go out, maybe catch snapper or cobia, stuff like that. Tuna during the wintertime when they're close.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably next, is a little bit bigger boat.
What does your ideal day off look like?
Well, it just depends. If it's a pretty day like today, I like to go play golf or I like going watching football games, baseball games, stuff like that. I usually don't go fishing a whole lot when I'm off, unless I got some buddies down. We'll go scouting for the day, but if I'm not doing something fun, I'm usually doing maintenance on the boat. Just catching my books up, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Do you do any hunting in Louisiana?
Oh yeah, there's a guide right now that I run duck hunts for him. But yeah, that's what I duck hunt a lot.
Yeah.
That's probably, if I'm off during the wintertime, I'm usually duck hunting or trying to find a way to go duck hunting.
Yeah.
Did y'all have a pretty good season this year?
Yeah, last year, the 2024 season was pretty awesome. Killed a lot of teal. If we didn't kill limited big ducks, we were killing teal. So, it was really good. Really good year.
What type of places do you duck hunt in?
So over there, it's all leases. So it's not like here. You can't just go, somewhere. You can't just pull up a boat and start hunting. You have to have a lease. So there's certain ponds and lakes and stuff, but it's all brackish water hunting. We'll be hunting over usually ponds with hydrilla in it, stuff they can eat.
Yeah. Do y'all ever do any trolling offshore?
Sometimes.
What are y'all trolling for?
Usually if we do troll, it'll be for like wahoo or tuna.
Yeah.
I haven't caught many kings over there. I've tried. I don't know if they're closer in than where we're fishing at.
Mm-hmm.
But usually when we're trolling, it's for wahoo or tuna.
Yeah. Do y'all ever troll around the oil rigs?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's where we normally troll at.
Yeah.
We'll troll like around the oil rig, like certain ones that are close together, or we'll troll like around the shrimp boats and stuff when they're pulling.
Yeah. All right, I got one last question to wrap it up. Are you on the water 300 days a year?
I wish.
Well, thanks for coming on. We enjoyed it, and we'll have to get out there and fish with you sometime.
Yeah, thank y'all for having me. I really enjoyed it.